What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. I'm going to do a video for you guys today. For those of you that don't know, my name's Greg. But I'm going to do a video for my newer drivers, 10 tips for new drivers. I really wanted to gear this video towards people that are thinking about it, have been wanting to drive, or maybe you just signed up in the last few months and you're still getting the hang of the ropes. Whatever the reason being, there can be a lot of mistakes you make. So I'm just going to give you guys 10 quick tips on how to really maximize your time and earnings on the road. When I started, my earnings were at like 13 bucks per hour, which you should be doing way more than that. So I'm going to tell you guys how to avoid doing what I did and just to make some good money all around. So the first thing is safety. Driving safe is really big. One thing I didn't realize is after like 1 month, I was speeding and like not driving the safest a lot, and it wasn't intentional. It was just that I got so used to being out on the road that I like just kind of started zoning out, and just started doing some not safe things that were more close to my normal driving style, but not a professional driving style, right? And so the biggest thing I've seen is that when you really are driving safe, like a lot of people will tip you for it. And I've had a lot of people that said, thanks for the safe ride. Best things to do for this, really utilize your cruise control, especially if you're on the highway. Like that's when I really start speeding. I've noticed like I can get cooking. So I have to set cruise control to this day on the highway because I'll space out and not even realize that I'm like speeding, It's just really hard for me to like monitor how my foot's on the gas pedal if I've been sitting in the car all day, So safety is my number one tip. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but it's a little bit trickier than you'd think. So drive safe, guys. I promise people will appreciate it. Let's see. And the next thing is being social. This is like one of the most important things, but being really engaging with your customers, asking them how their day's going, finding common ground and things to talk about to keep them interested in the conversation, engaged. A lot of people won't want to talk. A lot of people will. Now, more often than not, a lot of people just want someone to listen to them. And I've had this happen so many times where they're yapping their brains out and all I'm doing is just listening to them talk and occasionally saying a generic statement like, oh yeah, that's, awesome. Oh, great. Yeah, that's cool, man. I think it's great that you're going after that, and they'll just keep talking through me, So being social, but being a good listener is really important. And that's going to be another way that people are going to really get some value out of your ride and give you a high rating and give you a good tip. Next is utilizing apps. There are a lot of apps out there that will really, really help you. A few of them. GetUpside is an app for saving money on gas. Stride Tax. I think there's a crow on my car or something. Stride Tax, it's an app that helps you record your miles so that you can, save as much money on tax season as you can. Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, obviously are very necessary apps for, providing good music for your customers. That's a really, really important thing. Cargo Snack Box is another good service, another good app-based thing. Firefly ads. Oh gosh, let's see. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but there's a lot of really, really useful ones that are going to really help increase your earnings. I've also heard that there's apps that allow you to run multiple ride sharing apps at once. You could look into something like that, but do some research on the apps. I've done a lot of videos on the best apps to have if you're a rideshare driver. Do some research and find out what ones will personally fit your style the most and just figure out how you can increase your earnings a good bit. Alrighty, so the next thing I have is tips, and tips are really, really important. And the reason I bring this one up is because there's a lot of passengers you'll give rides to where you might judge them a little early. And you might be thinking, yeah, it's a college kid, they're not going to tip me. Here's what I would say. Just don't ever think like that because you never know who's going to tip you. I've had some college kids. I had some guys like 2 weeks ago, they tipped me like $5 and they left a comment saying his aux was Phi. F-Y-Y-E-E-E, and I literally had a Pandora station on that they chose. So I don't know, but they were really, really happy with the ride and they tipped me. And normally, like these young college guys, I just wouldn't have thought that I'd be getting anything, So really, like, you want to really work, think about it this way, like in a lot of jobs, people will work a place for a year just to get a $1 or $2 an hour raise. So if you, just by being social or having a lot of good apps and good music and different things, even if it's just, 5 more people giving you $1 extra each day, 5 extra bucks a day, 35 extra bucks a week, 140 bucks extra a month, that's how far these things go. So you've got to be thinking every ride, what can I do so that they tip me $1? That's like my mindset. Like, what can I do to provide them enough value during this ride to where they want to give me an extra $1 or $2? A lot of people aren't going to, a lot of rides aren't going to. That's just the reality. But if you think that way, you're going to make more money in tips overall, and it's going to increase your earnings per hour, and you'll be making more money and you'll be happier doing it. Alrighty, the biggest thing is times. I'm going to give you guys generic times to work, but you got to research your own market, okay? So Monday through Friday, 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 3 to 7 p.m. are the best times to drive. Those are the most lucrative hours. You get some surging, work rush, airport rush, lots of rides. It's the best times you can drive Monday through Thursday. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. aren't the best hours, but they're doable. I pretty often than not, if I work those hours, will still make 20 an hour. Some tips for those is use a destination trip, the first ride of your day, to get a ride to the airport, and then you'll get a ride from the airport elsewhere, and it's a good start to the slower hours. Night shift ain't bad if it's for you. I'm just not all about it. So those are generic hours, but in general, guys, you got to research your own markets. You got to look into your own markets and make sure you're Ubering and Lyfting at the right times of day. And the next is the places. When I first started, I would just park my car downtown and I would get no rides, and I didn't understand it. And I was always thinking it was the app and it sucked. Well, and then I learned that you just shouldn't stay downtown, because in most cities, there's going to be a lot of drivers downtown already to begin with, for one. But for two, there's not going to be quite as many rides in downtown areas as you think. So going and parking in places like that isn't smart. But again, another thing where you got to research your area, find out the best places to drive. I guarantee you some Uber or Lyft driver in your area has written a rideshare blog about the best places to drive Uber and Lyft in Albuquerque or wherever you're from, wherever you live, So just do a quick Google search, do some research. The next biggest tip I have is just take care of your taxes. Make sure you're recording all your miles. It really hurt me my first year not doing that, because I was young, dumb, and naive, and I just didn't know what I was doing. No one had ever really told me about any of that. God forbid my schooling didn't. And so I didn't file my taxes the right way, and I ended up having to do a payment plan to actually pay off my taxes. And it was pretty frustrating. Whereas, the last few years I've done my write-offs the right way and I don't pay a dime. So do your write-offs the right way, guys. Record your miles. It's going to go really, really far, and you'll be really thankful you did it. Let's see. The next thing is, a side hustle. This is a big one. So have a business you're starting, a sales job, something you can prospect clients for out of your car, because you're getting all this time with people. You'd be foolish to not utilize it. So I think a really, really important thing is, really, what I would recommend is find a commission-only sales job that you're remotely interested in. Find one where they don't care about you being in the office each day, and tell them you're an Uber driver and you want to get started by selling straight out of your car. I sold solar straight out of my car, and I a lot of times was making an extra $1,000 a week in commissions selling solar out of my car. And it was a commission-only job. They didn't care when I worked. They just wanted me to bring business to them, and that's what I did. So have something. You don't have to be crazy passionate about it, but do you see what I'm saying? It's like you're going to be in this car talking to people all day. How many of you, one of the first things they ask you is, do you do anything else besides Uber? That is like 80% of rides, I feel like. How perfect of a scenario to say, oh yeah, I do this, and then I do sales for such and such company, that you never know who's going to be interested in your product. So that next tip is a side hustle or a sales job, or start your own business, something along those lines. Let's see. And the next one I have is getting good insurance. The right insurance carrier and the right rideshare insurance is really, really important. Again, this is another thing that's going to depend more on the market you live in. So just do some research on it. Do some research on Just do a Google search, Uber and Lyft drivers insurance in my city, you know, and I guarantee you someone will have an article or some good advice on how to get you started on the right type of insurance plan that isn't going to hurt you long term. Alrighty, and then the very last one on the list is just having the right data plan. Originally, I didn't have unlimited data, and I was paying like an extra sum of money every single month because I was going over on my data plan. I think I've said data and data. It's like I'm pronouncing it differently every time I use it. So you definitely want unlimited data. Now, God, I just did it again, I think. So some advice: you get discounts with Uber and Lyft, Verizon, AT&T, or Sprint. I think AT&T offers the most for Uber drivers. There's also Gig Mobile is a cool plan for unlimited data. That's really, really cheap. So look into all these options, guys. I mean, cheap insurance is like a necessity. If you're below 25, it's just going to be tough no matter what. It's probably going to be closer to $200 a month. But if you're over 25, I pay $140 a month. There's no reason you guys shouldn't be paying that or cheaper. Seriously. If you're paying higher, you need to do some shopping around. Like I said, unless you're under 25 or you've got like a bunch of tickets on your record, well, then it's just going to be high. But if you don't, it should be cheaper than that. So set that as the model in your mind. But you are going to have to shop around for the right rates in your area. That being said, wow. I just realized I was like half insurance, half data. That whole thing was meant to be on data. Apologies on that. But yeah, I've probably been blabbing too long already, so I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys soon.